Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video. Today I'm doing a review of Doctor Who Memory Lane, which is a monthly range release, which, bit of a fun fact, I picked this one up during the fact that Big Finish on their Facebook account made a post a while back about sort of 50 to 100 or around that general vicinity of Big Finish's monthly range stuff was going to be less than their normal price of $14.99 on their website. They'd be going down to £6, predominantly because if you don't buy them as soon as sort of thing, then when they do run out of copies of, say, Memory Lane, and that they do have, that's it. They won't be reprinting them anymore, which is annoying, but and then that's where eBay comes into place. But yeah, so I picked this one up for £6, so a bargain really. Yeah, anyway, onto the packaging. It's got an astronaut with an ice cream and a whippy with a flake in it, of course. Why would you have one of those without a flake is beyond me. But anyway, Paul McGann in Doctor Who Memory Lane. What looks like the moon there, and some terraced houses, some old terraced houses. Big Finish there, and then a bunch of other stuff with Andy Fisher playing as Charlie, and then the guy who plays Keres and that. On the spine you've got 88, which means that it's the 88th release in the monthly range. Big Finish, Memory Lane in orange. The 1996 TV movie sort of logo there, Doctor Who. Then on the back you've got the bio as well, and or synopsis, as well as the imprinted sort of background of the TARDIS, 8th Doctor TARDIS interior. Then you've got the discs as well, parts 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and then stuff on the back, and then the writer's notes as well. And that. As well as getting this one, I did get another one. I got the Juggernauts as well, but unfortunately as well, for some weird reason, when they came through the post, the letterbox thing of my house, they came with a bit of a crack, or at least that one was way less severe than the one of that happened to the Juggernauts, which is good, but it's very annoying that they even happen anyway. But stupid mailman. But yeah. Either way, yeah, onto the story. It sees, spoiler alert, they'll be, talking about the story and whatnot. So if you haven't picked up Memory Lane, you might want to not watch this review maybe. I'll try and not spoil too much, but yeah, basically they land in what seems to be a bit of an odd place, because of the fact that it is a terraced place, or terraced houses. 1920s, 1930s, roughly around that general vicinity of the time period, and then they end up. What I love is that it's just so mundane and sort of series 1-esque, i.e., TARDIS lands in someone's living room whilst they're trying to watch the snooker and that, and the Doctor makes some funny jokes about the what was it? It's civil to ask for tea, even if you don't want it, sort of thing. Or it's civil to not disagree when someone's offering, or deny someone to offer you tea because lots of wars have been fought because of it. And then Charlie's like, what? Lots of wars? This is something I'll have to look up in the TARDIS computers and all that. And then he's like, well, maybe not quite 14, but still. And that. Paul McGann, he's on top form, phenomenal, firing on all cylinders, just being amazing. I'll be honest, one thing did irk me with his performance, which was that of his laughter, was very Master-esque almost. It was a bit odd. But besides that, he is basically the Sherlock Holmes of the characters we have. We have also Charlie, who's delightfully simple, and I mean that in a nice way, i.e. she's like Rose, but from the past. And that, from a past sort of standpoint in time. And then Keres is the sort of almost like that wannabe 5th Doctor sort of oddity and quantity, he's like Chameleon or K9, but way less cool because he's not robotic and a robot. But But yeah, he has some decent interactions and altercations even with the Eighth Doctor. Like the Eighth Doctor even says something akin to, you still have yet to apologise to me, Kira's, and I found that kind of fascinating. I do find the Eighth Doctor's interactions and sort of relationships with a lot of his companions and people that he interacts with on his jollies, on his journeys, quite interesting because I don't know enough about his character as the Doctor. I don't have that full range and that full picture quite yet, in contrast to that of, say, Tom Baker's Doctor for me, because I have, 22, 23, or maybe even 24 episodes of, Tom's run, whereas I don't have that with Mr. McGann. Like, for example, he meets that, I think he's fun, he's flamboyant, but he's also quite tetchy, can be quite, not so much grouchy or grumpy, but quite authoritative-ish. Like, you definitely, he does a portrayal in this, at least, where, like, you definitely would listen to him, even if he's not in the front or the front and centre of the room. You'd still sort of listen to him if he was offside or off tilt, i.e., sort of in a door frame or something, and there was a handful of people behind and or in the corridor or, in the other room, So some people could see him from the front, some from the side, some from the back, but he'd still command that authority as though you were stood right in front of him and he was yelling at you, sort of thing. It's a very sort of, it irks me, the story. It's very mystery sort of thing. The pacing of part 1 and 2 is really good, and I really like part 1's cliffhanger. It's phenomenal, but it's a very complex sort of concept to such a degree that I think it would work probably better being visual over non-visual. Best way of describing it, if you've watched Rick and Morty at all, excuse me, if you've watched the Rick and Morty episode where there's a simulation in a simulation, then you'll know that that's kind of what happens here, and that it's a certain character, and then the sort of, Ice Cream Man's actually a security guard and that, and a warden and that's very creepy, and then the music and all that, so of that happening, and that, trust me, I've listened to this in summertime when, ice cream vans are a thing, and that, but I think the thing that made me find it difficult to keep up with was the fact that, as I say, there's a lot of, like, okay, you've been exposed to this, Charlie. Now your mind's going to, start putting together your version of this simulation and that. So it's very confusing in that respect, going from that to then the spaceship of sorts, the spaceship, and then that being real though, but then going to Tommy's sort of Nan's house or something that's still a simulation, but his simulation and things akin to that. It can be quite challenging, and I did dip out quite a bit in and out of this story towards part 3 and or 4. Part 3 is probably the weakest easily. Part 1 and 2 is really sort of well paced, decent, sort of nice slow pacing. Part 3 feels really rushed and that, and then part 4 wraps things up in an okay-ish way, but not fantastically. And that, like, the big bad almost becomes not that bad, and that in this, spoiler alert, but the thing is, it's like, I don't know, like, the thing is, it's like, at the end of the day, at least it could have been worse. It could have been like, oh, they're just the last of their race, and we love them, or we destroyed them with love, or, shit like that, like the new series would do, but, you don't get to that. You don't go through that stuff to get the same conclusion, but at the end of the day, that's the thing, that's the icing on the cake, or the shit on the cake even, you still do get that unfortunate sort of outcome and resolution almost, it fell flat a bit towards the end, or the ending was a bit of a fall flat thing. It's like, all of the ideas and concepts were good and executed hit and miss, but, so, like, it's like opening one present, being kind of disappointed with it, but then opening another which was much better, and then overall though the box therefore is not as, big boxed present, wasn't wrapped well or, put together constructually well to hold these concepts as good as they could have been. Basically, they could have been refined a lot more. You could have chopped a bit off here and there, maybe. Audio quality wise, it's sort of middle of the road. It's sort of better than, say, obviously 1 to 50, but it's still nowhere near where Big Finish, Mountain Range, and or Big Finish will be in the future, i.e., 100 to further, to 300 and whatever they're on now, in terms of their audio quality. So audio quality wise, it's, as I say, middle of the road sort of meh sort of thing. But for me, I would give Memory Lane a 7 out of 10. Not bad, it's not the best story ever, but it's not the weakest. It's got some decent concepts. It was enjoyable, even though it was still quite difficult to follow in part 3 and or 4, and I think that's why part 3 was the weakest, because again, it was like just so sort of fast paced, and so, there's so many different things happening and this and that, and, and again, I think it's much like Frontios that I reviewed before yesterday of this recording. I feel like that's the problematic thing with the team-based thing. You've got the Doctor doing his own thing, and then Kerez and this other character doing something, and then Charlie doing stuff with Tommy. You got 5 characters there, plus the 2 sort of bad guys. I say bad guys in inverted commas, that's 7 characters. Quite a few people, you're chopping and changing between. So yeah, overall, I'd give Memory Lane a 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching, comment, rate, and subscribe.